Two more victims in the Planned Parenthood attack in Colorado have been identified. We'll have their stories. Protesters clash with police as world leaders arrive in Paris. President Obama is among those on hand for a climate summit. The latest on a newborn baby girl buried alive in Los Angeles. And the architect with a unique blueprint for success.
I'm an architect without sight, not an architect without vision.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor, and this is a Western edition of the broadcast. Robert Louis Deere, the accused gunman in the Planned Parenthood attack in Colorado, will make a court appearance tomorrow by video. Until tonight, police officer Garrett Swayze was the only victim identified. We have now been told the names of the two others who lost their lives, Jennifer Markowski and Kier Stewart. 9 others were hurt in Friday's attack. David Begnaud is in Colorado Springs with more.
I was crushed.
Leonte Chandler says his older brother Kier Stewart was one of 3 people killed Friday.
Almost 500,000 people here, and it happened to be my brother out of all these people. Random.
Stewart was an Iraq War veteran. His sister says detectives told her he had stepped outside the clinic to make a phone call and was shot. He turned back inside to tell everyone to take cover, and then he called 911. The father of Jennifer Markowski identifies her as the second civilian killed. On Facebook, he wrote, "I miss you, my daughter. Life was too short." Police say the shooter was 57-year-old Robert Deere. Mayor John Suthers was with police as they watched Deere through security cameras inside Planned Parenthood. How would you describe his demeanor as he was moving through the facility?
It was very, very calm and deliberate. It looked to me like he was trying to situate himself to get maximum access of doors that police may, come through.
According to law enforcement sources, as he was being taken into custody, Deere said no more baby parts. The source says Deere had several guns and ammunition with him and intended to shoot propane tanks to set off a series of explosions. In an interview with the New York Times, Deere's ex-wife said he believed abortion was wrong, but it was never really a topic of discussion.
Garrett would ask us to go on.
Today, Officer Garrett Swayze, who was shot and killed on Friday, was remembered in the church where he was an elder. His wife and mother of his 2 children released a statement saying, in part, in the end, his last act was for the safety and well-being of others and was a tribute to his life. At the time of the shooting, there was a woman who was inside the clinic with her daughter. She says she took shelter in a bathroom when the gunfire rang out. At one point, she was in there with 2 strangers when a bullet flew through the wall of the bathroom and hit one of those strangers in the stomach. It was a man. We're told it took 20 minutes to get medical attention for that man. But, Jeff, we're told that gentleman was among the survivors.
All right, David Begnaud in Colorado Springs. Tonight, there is more political fallout from the attack. Juliana Goldman has that story.
On Sunday, Planned Parenthood said political rhetoric incited Friday's killing spree, releasing a statement saying, "It is offensive and outrageous that some politicians are now claiming this tragedy has nothing to do with the toxic environment they helped create."
This is so typical of the left, to immediately begin demonizing a messenger.
Some Republican presidential hopefuls said there's no link to the anti-abortion rhetoric.
There's no excuse for killing other people, whether it's happening inside the Planned Parenthood headquarters, inside their clinics where many millions of babies die, or whether it's people attacking Planned Parenthood.
All of the videos that they've seen with some of these people from Planned Parenthood talking about it like you're selling parts to a car.
Republicans escalated the attacks against Planned Parenthood after a series of videos made by pro-life groups showing doctors allegedly discussing the sale of fetal tissue.
Watch a fully formed fetus on the table, its heart beating.
Fiorina has not proven such a video exists, and Ben Carson said politicians should choose their words more carefully.
There is no question that, hateful rhetoric, no matter which side it comes from, right or left, is something that is detrimental to our society.
Jeff, today in Iowa, Senator Ted Cruz said there has been, quote, vicious rhetoric on the left, blaming those who are pro-life.
Juliana Goldman in D.C. Juliana, thank you. In Paris today, more than 200 demonstrators were arrested after clashing with police. The protests were not allowed under France's state of emergency. President Obama arrived in the French capital tonight, joining nearly 150 other leaders for a climate summit. Margaret Brennan is traveling with the president.
President Obama's very first stop on French soil was the Bataclan Theater, site of the worst of the Paris attacks. Flanked by the French president and mayor of Paris, Mr. Obama laid a single rose and bowed his head. A solemn start to what will be France's biggest security challenge since those terror attacks 2 weeks ago. 147 world leaders are descending on Paris for a long-planned climate change conference. Riot police have been deployed in unprecedented numbers. Today, some clashed with protesters who defied the government ban on demonstrations. A 120,000-strong security force is stationed throughout the country, and nearly 1,000 people thought to pose a security risk have been blocked from entering France. During his 2 days in Paris, President Obama will forego a hotel. Instead, he'll overnight at the heavily guarded U.S. ambassador's residence. Bruce Tully spent 40 years protecting dignitaries around the world.
This is the highest threat environment that I've professionally ever seen. There's so much going on, not just with ISIS, other terrorist groups and protesters. This is an incredibly critical threat time for us to be involved in.
The terror threat is already distracting from the summit. A march scheduled for Sunday was banned due to security concerns. Environmentalists staged a silent protest, leaving their shoes in the square they had planned to walk through. But as with so much in this still mourning city, life marches on.
Jeff, the president will also have a chance here in Paris to meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin and other world leaders who were also juggling this immediate danger from terrorism with the existential threat posed by climate change.
Margaret, on the subject of the summit, what is the president hoping to accomplish while in Paris?
Well, the goal is to reach an agreement that would reduce greenhouse gases, which are blamed for rising temperatures and ecological disasters. But, Jeff, even if a deal is reached, it won't be legally binding, and critics say it may not even be enough.
Margaret Brennan in Paris. Margaret, thank you. In Cleveland tomorrow, family members of Tamir Rice will testify before a grand jury deciding whether to indict the police officer who killed him more than a year ago. This weekend, prosecutors released a new analysis of video of the shooting. Here's Jamie Yukas.
The scene is laid out frame by frame with time code. Each action is described by forensic analysts hired by prosecutors. Just before the shooting, you see Rice on the left as the police car pulls up. He starts walking toward the car. Both prosecutor Tim McGinty and the Rice family attorneys agree there's nothing new in these images. However, police believe this is the moment Rice lifted his shirt and reached for what officers thought was a gun. It turned out to be a toy. Rice family attorney Zoe Salzman.
What do we see and what don't we see in this frame? We see Tamir's arm and shoulder sort of lifting upwards, and it's unclear whether that's in reaction to one of the shots that missed him or to the shot that struck him in the stomach. And in the very next frame, Tamir is doubled over and clearly by that time has been shot.
In a recent statement, prosecutor Tim McGinty says any new footage released is part of a more open and transparent protocol, and that he is not reaching any conclusions from these or other isolated bits of evidence. The prosecutor's experts have determined the use of force was justified. The Rice family attorneys will present their own law enforcement experts.
Both conclude that this shooting was unreasonable and unjustified and a complete departure from proper police practices.
Salzman adds the videos are the only pieces of evidence the grand jury has seen so far until Rice's family testifies tomorrow.
The two officers involved will give their testimony in the next couple of weeks. The grand jury session ends in December, but 2 extensions are allowed. And Jeff, that means we may not know if the officers will be indicted for up to 5 more months.
Okay, Jamie Yukas, thank you. Jury selection starts tomorrow in the trial of one of 6 Baltimore police officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray. Here's Jerika Duncan.
Baltimore City police officer William Porter could spend at least 10 years in prison if convicted for his alleged role in the death of 25-year-old Freddie Gray. Judge Barry Williams decided the 12 jurors selected will not be sequestered and must remain anonymous. Jurors will be shown cell phone video of Gray's April 12th arrest, which sparked widespread protest against police brutality that later turned violent. Hundreds rioted and looted several stores the day of Gray's April 27th funeral. Attorney Bill Murphy represented Gray's family in the $6.4 million wrongful death settlement.
So it's very important that jurors not bring their preconceived notions into the case.
Hands up, fight back! This weekend, protesters in downtown Baltimore say they plan to rally peacefully outside the courthouse for the trial they've been waiting for since May 1st. That's when Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby announced charges against the 6 officers.
The manner of death, deemed a homicide by the Maryland State Medical Examiner, is believed to be the result of a fatal injury that occurred while Mr. Gray was unrestrained by a seatbelt in the custody of the Baltimore Police Department wagon.
The officers involved will each have separate trials.
Porter is facing manslaughter and second-degree assault charges. A gag order prevents the attorneys in this case from commenting. Officials plan to increase security for the jury selection and the trial. Jeff?
Okay, Jerika Duncan. Pope Francis is on the final stop of his trip to Africa. He is in the Central African Republic, a nation that has been torn by fighting between Christian and Muslim militants. Alan Pizzi is there.
The welcoming ceremony was the most low-key of his 3-nation Africa tour. But Francis wasted no time in setting out his most ambitious agenda. I come, he said, as a pilgrim of peace and an apostle of mercy. The masses of people along his route from the airport may have cheered in adoration, but this is a place where danger lurks everywhere. The 2-year-old civil war of Muslims against Christians has been violent in the extreme and torn the society apart. 900 French troops and 3,000 UN peacekeepers are hard-pressed trying to protect ordinary civilians, never mind a prime target like the Pope. They even brought sniffer dogs to check out a church center before he arrived for a brief visit.
The UN troops have managed to cut down crime and reduce the level of violence. But in a candid assessment of what the Pope is moving around in, their commander said bluntly, Bangui is not secure. That is a fact.
Francis spent time in a camp for several thousand of the nearly 500,000 people displaced by the fighting. In a gesture to underscore his call for peace, Francis opened a door in the main cathedral, symbolically beginning what the church calls a Jubilee Year of Mercy that officially begins on December 8th. He then held Mass and called for militiamen to lay down their arms. But his most dangerous gambit comes tomorrow when he goes to a mosque in a Muslim neighborhood under siege by a Christian militia. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Bangui.
Up next here, deadly floods in Texas, ice in Oklahoma, where the storms are going next. And new pictures of the princess taken by the Duchess when the CBS Evening News continues. It has been a dangerous holiday weekend for much of the middle of the country. At least 14 people have died due to flooding in North Texas and icy roads in Kansas and Oklahoma, where officials have declared a state of emergency. KTVT meteorologist Jeff Jamison joins us. Jeff, where are these storms headed next?
Good evening, Jeff. Still heavy rain in Arkansas tonight. That rain will continue to spread through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys for the rest of the night tonight into Monday. And then we're going to watch snow on the northern end of the storm system. Upper Midwest, parts of Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota will pick up some snow, maybe up to a foot of snow in Minneapolis on Monday. Highs in the 40s from Chicago down to Kansas City, just a cold rain there. Now on Tuesday, the system will move east, but it's just a rain event for the Northeast on Tuesday. No ice or snow. There will be cool temperatures in the 40s in Boston, 50s in New York City and Washington, D.C. Jeff?
Jeff Jamison, thank you very much. Up next here, new details in the mystery surrounding a newborn baby who was buried alive. A newborn baby was found in California Friday, buried under pieces of pavement near a bike path, but alive. Now police are looking for the child's parents. Here's Maria Villarreal.
Walking along a popular bike path the day after Thanksgiving, Evangelina McCreary and Angelica Blount heard a muffled cry.
I said, might be a cat. And then my sister said, no, it's a baby crying.
The pair called 911. LA County Sheriff's deputies dug into the hole and pulled out the infant girl. No more than 36 hours old, she was still wrapped in a hospital blanket. She wouldn't have survived much longer with the cold overnight temperatures, says Sergeant Marvin Jaramillo.
Anytime you have a helpless newborn child who can't help themselves, it is frustrating. There is a safe haven drop-off at any hospital or fire station.
Whoever abandoned this little girl could face charges of attempted murder. Jesse Brew lives nearby.
Who would do some dumb stuff like that over here? You know, that's why I'm saying they need to catch this person. You know, you need to go to jail.
But amid the anger, there is also relief.
Thanks God, you know, we were there for a walk and then we found the baby.
The infant is now in protective custody and recovering. Authorities say she survived only because people took action. Neighbor Angel Flores may have put it best.
Those are two angels saving a baby angel.
Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Cyber Monday sales and strategy are changing. Details next. Online shoppers are expected to spend nearly $3 billion tomorrow on Cyber Monday. That is 12% more than last year and would be a record. Here with more, CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, what can we expect from Cyber Monday?
Well, it's still going to be the biggest online shopping day of the year, but it's sort of lost a little bit of its oomph. Remember, we went to Cyber Monday because our slow connections at home were really awful over the weekend. We went to our fast connections at work. What's interesting is I think they're taking a page from the physical doorbuster deals on Cyber Monday. Great promotions. You get into that site, you click on something else that's more expensive or where there's a higher margin item. So a little bit of the blending of the retail of the physical and the online.
Speaking of brick and mortar, though, one analyst we spoke to said foot traffic was down about 25% on Black Friday in stores. Not the end of brick and mortar entirely, though?
Absolutely not. I mean, look. About 85% of all retail sales are occurring in physical locations. So it's not dying. But what we are doing as consumers is we're being smarter. We're using digital to inform our buying decisions, and retailers are doing both, physical as well as online. It will be a good holiday season for informed consumers. So use that knowledge and shop well.
All right, Jill, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are new pictures of Britain's Princess Charlotte. She is sitting in a chair in a dress and cardigan playing with a stuffed animal. The pictures were taken by her mother, Kate. Charlotte is just under 7 months old now. Coming up here, an architect who lost his sight, but not his vision. We close tonight with the story of an architect who has drafted a very different blueprint to success. Here's John Blackstone.
Chris Downey is a man with a plan. Plenty of plans.
A lot of people didn't know what to say. What do you say to an architect that's lost his sight?
He had been a successful and respected California architect, but in 2008, doctors found a tumor on his optic nerve. They successfully removed it, but it caused permanent blindness. And for Downey, some soul searching.
I had a dad who died from brain surgery when he was 36 and I was 7. There I was, 45, and my son was 10. I was alive. I just lost my sight.
So he felt determined to carry on.
As I move around, I can hear how the space changes.
We first met Downey nearly 5 years ago after he finished his first project for the Department of Veterans Affairs.
In your mind, you can still see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. The creative process was very much intact. What I needed were new tools.
Those new tools, which have served him well these past few years, include embossed building plans, a kind of Braille blueprint, and wax sticks that he bends and manipulates to sketch.
I really have a greater sense of being in the space, reading and drawing this way than I did sighted.
Downey has gone on to design several structures that capture the eye and much more.
What I've learned through this is that it's how the place feels, how it sounds. You don't do that just through the visual, yet that's what we as architects tend to focus on.
His latest project is the San Francisco headquarters of the Lighthouse for the Blind.
He really knows the job. I think he probably knows it better than I do.
David Fairclough is the project superintendent who recently gave Downey a tour.
So have you started sheetrocking yet?
Carefully navigating past wires and other hazards.
We are in the process of putting in our new beams.
Yeah, that's up overhead.
And the new beam is directly above your head, and you just hit the new beam. That's the new beam.
He was telling me, oh, yep, I know where we are. This is a wood ceiling right here. So it's really unique.
I'm an architect without sight, not an architect without vision. An architect without vision is out of work.
Downey is not only working, he's thriving. And the reputation he's building is a sight to behold. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
That is the CBS Evening News tonight, later on CBS 60 Minutes. And first thing tomorrow, CBS This Morning. I'm Jeff Glor in New York. Good night.